All right, it's party time on Thursday. Off the rails. Mothership Studio 22. The Puppet Master Mark, Chris Cruz, Super Cruz. God, you look so super right now, Chris. I love that shot of you. Just God. Is he awake? Is he alive? Is he breathing? Somebody mouth to mouth? Anyone? Would anyone do mouth to mouth
So
with Super
serious.
Cruz? And let's love Brandon at the helm. Nether Regions Insanity. Do you have student loans? Sara Gonzales?
I don't.
The host of the news and why it matters?
I do not. I did not want to do it that way.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
So yesterday's show, I lost a whole segment somewhere. I was just fired up and running my mouth. And so we got to the final block, which was, 47 seconds long. And I was just talking about it like I got 10 minutes. And so we're just going on. And so I was like, I just realized, what's going on with the clock? And they're like, we want to know what's going on with you. So we had to redo the whole final segment. So there were things I didn't get into yesterday I want to get into today. And part of it was about this deal, the student loan thing. One of the colleges I went to, and I went to a couple of different places, not because I couldn't make up my mind. I went to the different colleges on purpose. Right. Each one of them.
Oh, I know this because my son did a project all about you.
Yeah. Each one of them I went to on purpose, got the education there that I got. And there was one deal, like I went and found scholarships. I never took out loans for school. I had paid for it as I went.
Why didn't you?
I just didn't need to. I didn't want to. I was trying to find ways not to.
Right.
I just hate debt.
Right. Which is the correct attitude to have about it.
Yeah. My thing is I got scholarships to go. One school I went to was a private school. It was very expensive, but there was a reason I went to that particular school. And honestly, I still use the education, not the degree, but I use the education I got there.
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference in that because a lot of people go to school to get a degree. They don't get an education.
Right.
I was educated.
Yeah.
And so I still use that to this day, 30 years later. So all that to say, there was one particular scholarship, an obscure scholarship out there that I found, and I learned something. When I went, I filled out the applications to go get this scholarship. You have to go meet with these boards. They interview you, and then they determine if you can have the money. Well, if they don't give you the money sits in a trust. It makes money for the organization, whoever puts the scholarship out there. There's a lot of these scholarships out there. They don't want to give you the money. They want to find a reason not to give it to you. It's like, well, we didn't find a recipient this time.
Yeah.
But fortunately, there was somebody on the board who fought for me, and I fought for myself, and I was able to get. So there were things out there that I did to help pay for my education.
Right.
My degree, useless. In that regard. But this Joe Biden thing, Joe Biden wanting to forgive $10,000 in student loans for people earning under $125,000. $125,000 a year is still a lot of money. Most people don't make that. Most people don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people keep sending me Venmo money. I'm telling you, Chad Prather 22, Venmo. They keep sending me gas money, and
that's amazing.
It is.
I need to start giving my Venmo out on my show.
And again, folks, thank you. God bless you. We'll put it to great things. I guarantee you. I'd give it back to you, but I don't want to steal your blessing, child. I don't want to steal your blessing. I want you to be represented in the throne room of heaven. Pour it out on them, Lord. But seriously, thank you. It's humbling. But there are people like the people who said, like a lot of Democrats said, it needs to be 50,000.
It's never going to be enough.
Why not be 100 million?
It's never going to be enough.
So if I paid for mine, then shouldn't I get at least 20,000?
So
I should get double because I was responsible.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up too, because that's what I said. Or at least just throw us a tax credit, right? Like do something for all of the people who did things the right way.
Yeah.
Instead of it's basically penalizing people who were more financially responsible, who made sure that they didn't have the debt, or people who were, I would say, more efficient with their degree and started making the money that would put them over the threshold, right? You're punishing the people who are successful and responsible with their funds what motivation and incentive do they have to continue doing that?
And I'm assuming you saw the clip where the guy confronted Sacagawea.
Yes, from 2020.
Yeah, about the student loan deal when he confronted Elizabeth Warren.
I love that clip so much.
Chief Pocahonky. And he said, what's the deal? I'm working, and if somebody, anyway, it's a great clip, great confrontation. She just didn't have time for it.
Oh, of course not.
Just laughed it off because logically you can't defend this. You can't.
Well, and also, I mean, when you're talking about the left, who do you think, what subset of Americans do you think that this, I mean, I would say the majority of people going to college and getting these worthless degrees are probably suburban, upper middle class white people.
Right. It's racist. Black people ain't gonna like this.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
The Democrats continue to run on, doing things for the black community and the minorities and the Hispanic community. All they're doing is letting illegal immigrants flood our border and preventing blacks and Hispanics from working, the ones who are here legally. And then they're forgiving all of this debt for all of the white students.
And I'll tell you, you remember the whole Stop Asian Hate? I'd be pissed off at this if I were Asian.
Yeah.
Because they are the biggest earners as a demographic in America. They make more money than anybody. Asians do. So they're making more than $125,000 a year, and they went to college.
Yep. And they worked hard, too.
That's right.
Or they got in trouble from their parents.
That's right. They went to school 7 days a week, 365. And so for you Asians, that's 365. 365. I'd be pissed off if I were Asian.
Yeah.
Because I'm making bank and I'm not getting a loan forgiveness.
Right.
Right? Right?
Just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Nothing about this makes sense, Chad.
No. I'm in love with a married woman. Let me make a confession.
What?
It's not you, Sarah. Breathe. Exhale. Okay? I love you, but not like that. Mm-hmm. I am in love with a married woman. She doesn't know it. Carol Roth.
Oh, I'm in love with
Carol Roth is
Carol Roth.
Just, she does it for me. Let me tell you, this girl, and I don't know, apparently Glenn's in love with her too because she's on his show every other day. She tweeted this yesterday morning, and I'm like, she is straight fire. I mean,
she's amazing.
Pulls no punches.
Yeah.
She said, how is the government different than a pimp? Sends you out to do the work, asks for a big chunk of the money you make, berates you for it not being enough. And somebody said on there, says, somebody said, please pull up immediately, says, good one, but does the pimp build roads, schools, work to eliminate bias and discrimination? Does your pimp allow you to carry a machine gun or even argue for that right? Does the pimp give you, albeit a small amount, of retirement funds and medical care? And I said, funny, I've never seen a member of government doing a single one of those things. I mean, tell me when you saw...
so stupid.
When's the last time you saw... Now, I saw Paul Pelosi trying to walk a straight line on a street. We have that. And we're going to play it in a minute. But I've never seen Paul Pelosi, who's not a government official, but I've never seen anybody in the Pelosi family out building the streets.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, good on you, Carol Roth.
I'm sorry, did that response, was it alluding to the idea that the government is who gives us the right to own a gun?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee, where do I start with that one?
Yeah.
But so that is completely absurd. And then another...
A machine gun, by the way.
Oh.
That's what he said. Machine gun.
Well, I mean, I wish I could own a machine gun. But I wish the government allowed me to own one of those.
Yeah.
But it's not just that vein of thinking. It's also the people who don't understand how these loans work at all. Because I read one that said it was a response to all of this that said it was a response to someone who was saying the common sense, reasonable thing, which was, I paid for my school a long time ago. Can I do this? Can I make money somehow? Like, who are the elites? Because it sounds like we're catering to them. And someone said, well, you're not paying. Nobody is paying. That's the point. They're erasing the debt. You don't have to pay it.
Sweet Lord,
Neither
Jesus.
do they. It's no longer owed. And I'm like, I don't understand how people get so far in life being so stupid.
Now, I get...
It just vanishes.
I understand that colleges and universities, they charge too much.
Of course.
I mean, it's insane.
Some would trace that back to the government's involvement in student loans.
It's because they can.
Right.
It's criminality. Yeah. And look, if you go out and you buy a house that's too expensive and you can't afford it, am I just supposed to forgive you of that too?
Right.
There's affordable housing out there. I mean, according to your means.
Right. It may not be your ideal situation.
Yeah. I mean, look. I don't know. How much of my business do I want to tell here? Why not? I tell it all anyway.
Oh, gosh.
Look, for the last, 8-9 months of my life, I've been living in a 1,000 square foot apartment. Mm-hmm. Why do I need anything else?
Right.
People think, oh, well, you're living outside. Why? I could, but why?
Yeah.
Why do I want to?
That's what works for you.
I mean, I live in a hotel for the most part all the time. So I'm doing all this stuff. I live according to my means. My father told me, one of his little pieces of wisdom, he said, look, never buy something. Like if you're going to live in a house, he said, make sure that you make in a week whatever your monthly payment's going to be for the place you live in, right? And I don't know that that's an incredibly great rule of thumb these days, but by and large, it's a good thing. You
need to have some sort of budget or planning mechanism.
If you make $1,000 a week, don't try to live in something that's $2,000 a month.
Right.
So, that kind of thing. These people are going out there. They're getting these loans. They're getting this education. They're, like my kids went to college. My 18-year-old my 15-year-old started college back in the summer. My 18-year-old, she started college just the other day. So I've got 2 college graduates. I've got 4 college kids, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't let them go out there and get all those loans. I just no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to focus on getting all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And not going to buy into those ideologies because ultimately that's what they are. So Carol Roth, I love you. Carol said in another tweet yesterday morning, why do I keep saying this morning? She said, the government shouldn't be in the student loan business, period. Nationalizing most of student lending has enabled the exponential increase in the cost of college, far exceeding inflation. So there you go. Yeah. It's common sense.
It is.
But they're not going to have to pay for it. They're just going to erase it.
Yeah, it just vanishes.
Here's the thing. Well, those tenured professors that have been pushing those papers around in their little academic bubble, pushing their little wild-eyed progressive Riri theories all these years, they still like a salary. And hey, Professor Pocahontas, remember when she taught one class, what was it, Harvard, and made $415,000 for one class she taught? Yeah, Elizabeth Warren. I bet, she ain't giving that money back.
No. I also think it's really sad that we're in a time where we're trying to teach everyone that college is a necessity for everyone.
Because
I think that's a big part of the problem, because all of these kids, they don't have the means to go to college. They don't have the financial backing, but everyone's told them it's what they have to do. Trade schools are out of the question. Yeah. Becoming some sort of an apprentice or something is out of the question. You have to go to college and take on this debt. But don't worry, the government will forgive you for it later on. So you'll be fine. I mean, this mentality that they're pushing is really scary.
I agree with you. And, my kids, again, they're doing the college thing because I taught them identity. We taught them identity. They know who they are. They know where they're going in life and what they're trying to accomplish, and they see where college and what they could do to go get the education more than the degree can help them get to that point. So we we did all that. Oh, by the way, I don't have kids. I walked away from a marriage and 5 adopted kids. That's what the internet says now. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but
that's news to me. Your best friend.
The argument du jour these days, 2 years after the fact, is my divorce, and everybody online.
Of course.
Apparently, there's these foreign written translated into English tabloid articles out there about people. I'm on
Really?
several, and it's funny. You can tell they're written in one language and translated to English because the English is bad. But people are reading this thinking that these are factual articles. You should do yourself sometime.
I should do myself
because
sometime.
I don't know, somewhere in Indonesia, there's somebody writing these articles.
I would be fascinated to learn what I've done.
I didn't know until a couple of weeks ago that there's, so I mean, some people, it's amazing the information that's out there about you that people are thinking is true.
That's funny.
It's amazing.
Wow.
This stuff.
I'll have to go look that up.
But I say all the time, trade school is fine. Learn to trade. Do that. The trade school people aren't the one asking for debt forgiveness. They got a job.
They also might be making, in some cases, more than $125,000.
And in a lot of cases, here pretty soon, they may be paying for your university degree.
Yeah.
So, think a welder. Yeah, it's
a welder
stupid,
for your...
but just teach your kids. I'm not saying college, by and large, well, it is. The system we got now, it's evil. But you can even take something like that and make it a useful tool, and it pisses me off. But hang on, we'll be right back. So our friends over at Texas Scorecard have a great article out right now. You know, earlier this summer, H-E-B, the grocery store, that's a great grocery store. Everybody's fortunate if they got an H-E-B in their community in Texas.
H-E-B.
I mean, so they came out and they were funding, the all ages drag shows.
Well, now I don't love H-E-B.
Yeah. So they called all of, they were sponsoring the family friendly drag show. And H-E-B caught a lot of. Now they're trying to whitewash the evidence, so they're backing up because they caught some grief.
What did they think was going to happen?
Yeah, so they're San Antonio based, and they were listed as a sponsor of an LGBT pride event in downtown Austin in June. It was Rainbow on the Creek. That was the name of the event. It had Drag Queen Story Hour, a family friendly. And I think what happens a lot of times is these companies get involved in, we're just going to show our support for the LGBTQ community, and they don't read the fine print of what these events really are.
Yeah.
Because I've got some celebrity acquaintances and friends that I have personally called out and said, hey, you know what they're doing at your restaurant that has your name on it?
Yeah.
You might want to study up on this before you catch a bull ration of shit. But they were listed. I mean, let me tell you, it was Tito's Vodka. That's a very liberal deal. H-E-B, Applied Materials, Google, Capital Right, Crane Center, Kind Clinic, Lalo. That's a tequila, by the way. Vivient Health, Richard Rainwater, AMD. There were a lot that were on here.
Kind Clinic. I bet I know what that is.
Don't you know?
I bet I know what that is. Are they very kind when they're mutilating children's genitals?
Allegedly.
Gender affirming care. There it is.
Gender affirming care. Is that what it says?
Gender affirming care is one of the many things they do.
Well, that's one of their
also,
offerings.
completely unrelated, HIV testing.
Oh.
So.
Oh. Anything about monkeypox on there?
No.
Yeah, that's it. North Dallas is a national leader when it comes to monkeypox.
Woo!
Some bathhouses on fire in Dallas County.
Now, I don't know that I would completely absolve them of that just if they, quote, didn't know, which we don't know to be the case. But even if it was,
yeah.
If you've been paying attention at all lately at any of the Pride events that took place in just a couple months ago, you would know that this kind of disgusting, lewd, stuff it's happening at all of them, and it's all being pushed on kids. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a drag show. It's all of the Pride events.
So, and finish that deal. So now in the thing, that Rainbow Creek thing, they've now, H-E-B is conspicuously missing from their, ad sponsor banner. So they're trying to whitewash their thing on that. So you look at it, you say, hey, maybe they learned and they grew from it. But you're right. To your point, let me say one more time, the L's, the G's, and the B's, that ain't who you're supporting anymore. It's the T's driving the train. Unfortunately, the T's have an affinity and an affection for the P's. You notice they hadn't added the P's yet, but they're trying to open the door to put the P's on there, or the M's if you want to call them minor attracted persons. But trust me when I tell you. Now, you don't think, and I alluded to this yesterday. I want to show you the clip. So Lady Gaga was at the Globe, and she did a concert, and some people put a clip out there where she had her little, well, just play the clip.
From what I understand,
Yeah.
right now,
Marilyn Manson.
this state has a purple heart. And I think I'm hoping that purple is gonna go blue.
Where was this?
Last night in Dallas.
And if there's anything you can do about it, I want to hear you yell. And now listen. If maybe I brought this up and you're thinking, this is not for me, I do not want to talk about this right now, and you might not agree, but guess what? I don't know that this is about what you believe. This is about keeping people safe.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Keeping people safe.
Wait,
All those people
what?
look like they were in danger there. Yeah.
Is that...
Yeah. I unpack. If you missed last night's show, I unpacked that whole thing for 5 minutes about how she's a capitalist. She's got a carbon footprint, private jet, semi trucks, did the whole thing. She made everybody wait 3 hours before she came on stage so she could get her cut of the concessions as well as people buy her T-shirts. So that's capitalist, that's free market. So all of the conservative principles that she engaged in and F the climate in order to come out there and present that message and everybody clapping after paying $75 and up for a ticket to come see her music, listen to her music that she's made $1 billion off of. So, yeah. And I bet she was surrounded by armed guards. So you're talking about keeping people safe.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was wondering. It's like, wait, is she saying because of the gun laws?
No,
I couldn't even figure out what her point was.
I mean, look, these days, let's list them. So these days, when you hear a progressive Riri say, we got to keep people safe. All right, so you got the gun laws.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You got the abortion rights.
Which I don't think abortions are keeping babies very safe, I got to tell you.
Again, for every 2 people that walk into Planned Parenthood, 1 walks out.
Just
they are batting 500.
Yeah.
I could tell you that on their kill rate.
Yeah.
So, but when they start talking about this stuff, they're also talking about the open border where people can come in and find asylum and amnesty. I don't know if you saw Jorge Ventura, our buddy Jorge, had a picture on his Instagram and Twitter the other day where 3 Chinese nationals were apprehended at the southern border. Now, anyone? I don't.
I bet they spoke Spanish.
They didn't come from Guadalajara. They didn't come from the state of Chihuahua. They come from another Che place. It wasn't Chihuahua. It was China.
Well, Chad, to be fair, if I could quote Nancy Pelosi, she said if you dig enough, you'll get to China.
With a spoon.
Maybe those 3 Chinese person just were digging at the beach and ended up in Mexico.
They were in Beijing. They were trying to dig to America, and they missed it about 5 miles south of the border. And they wound up in, we're in Juarez. But yeah, 3 Chinese nationals apprehended at the border, southern border. So,
And those were just the ones that were apprehended, by the way.
And let me tell you something. Those are just ones that are apprehended.
Yeah.
They're
not apprehending many. Spoiler alert.
And I can't bring all that up without saying, you want to keep people safe? You want to keep people safe? We've talked about it on the show. I posted on my social media this week in numerous places. Parents, you better be talking to your kids about this rainbow fentanyl. Where's that coming from? This coming from China by way of the Mexican cartels. You better be talking. And you know what else is going on? Down in Houston, lady got deathly ill. She picked up something in the parking lot. Had fentanyl. People are putting it on dollar bills.
Wait, she just
picked it up.
Picked it up?
Picked it up. picked it up.
Jeez.
They're putting it on stuff and stuffing it under people's door handles. Car doors.
Okay, so
I'm telling you, you better watch out. They're not talking about fentanyl. Not once has the word fentanyl come out of Joe Biden's effing mouth. This is serious. Yeah. So that's coming from China and being smuggled into the U.S. by way of the cartels. And now they've got it. I mean, it is no mistake that it looks like candy, and here we are at Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're coming up on October, another month, and this time of the year, they get this stuff in here. I mean, a couple of ounces about the size of a few grains of salt, and that's life-threatening.
Well, everyone gives me a hard time about not allowing my kid to eat sugar, but who's laughing now?
Well, you're right. I put it out there. Listen, I've talked to my adult kids. I've talked to my underage. You know, I've talked to all my kids. I'm like, guys, just be aware. Yeah. Aware. We're living in a dangerous world. So if Lady Gaga wants to keep people safe, well, then certainly, I bet Lady Gaga while she was on stage in Dallas the other night, I bet she spelled out her plan for border security here in this purple-hearted state. I'm sure she planned out how she was going to stop the flow of fentanyl drugs into the United States. I'm sure she had a plan for keeping people safe.
It's just really frustrating when you hear the left. They constantly do this. They reshape language, right? Like using that catchphrase, keeping people safe, you just pointed out, can mean so many different things to them, but it sounds so nice and flowery. But then when you point out all of the things that you pointed out, it's like, none of your policies are actually keeping people safe. You want to go a step further, they're letting people out of prisons. They're not charging violent criminals who go on to reoffend. All of their policies are constantly doing the opposite of keeping people safe, but they want to take that phrase and weaponize it and say like, oh, well, we just want to keep people safe because we want reproductive health care and gender affirming care and all of these things. It's so maddening.
Yeah, but they're forgiving theft, the smash and grab culture that's going on. I mean, is anybody keeping anybody safe from Paul Pelosi? I mean, real quick, you got Paul walking the line? Yeah, let's. I mean, everybody's seen it, but let's just enjoy it one more time. Play it.
So you could try both feet out if you want. I'll let you start. You can try the test with both feet.
Watch Paul. He starts holding on for dear life.
I'll give you like a pre-trial run, for lack of a better term. You could try it with both feet, see which one you feel more comfortable with, and then once you're ready, just let me know.
Jeez.
Are you sure you could complete the test? Okay. Because I really don't want you to fall over and hurt yourself. That's the last thing I'll... Right, but that defeats the whole purpose of the test, grabbing onto a so-called.
Paul is lit.
Oh,
Napa
no.
Paul. Napa Paul. He pled guilty to DUI and causing injury charge. He dodged the jail time. Sentenced to 5 days in jail, but will not be required to serve the time.
Good behavior. They said good behavior.
Yeah, he had 2 days that he spent in jail and 2 days of good conduct credit.
Yeah, the 2 days that he spent previous in jail that they gave him credit for.
Am I doing this? Right?
No, Paul.
He crashed a $100,000 2021 Porsche into a 2014 Jeep. Are you sure? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, Paul, you son of a bitch. I can't believe, Paul, that you can't crash the car. Jesus, Paul. I wish I was still sleeping with John Kennedy. That was a man that made me feel good.
We'll be right back. The attempt to eloquent wax. That's what I'm going to do right here. Wax eloquent. All right, guys, the Ford Motor Company, they just announced it's going to be cutting 3,000 jobs. And I said on Twitter the other day 4,000, but I don't know. I make things up. 2,000 salary and 1,000 agency positions are going to be wiped off their corporate map this week. And there's a very compelling and frustrating reason why. Now, I don't want you to be shocked by this. So if you happen to be standing up right now, you just have a seat, all right? Hold on to the armrest. Pull you a Paul Pelosi out and grab yourself a crutch. You know how the Biden administration has been going on and on of late about how many jobs they've created since their senile sleeping figurehead was FedExed into office where he sits, mostly unopened to this day. Have you been paying attention to the steady stream of bullshit that has rolled like a tsunami over any and all attempts within the world of information to get at the truth of where the job market is today versus where it was, say, a couple years ago? Well, that same administration, dolling itself up, as it were, as if it weren't a cheap political hooker, is pretty much directly responsible for what's going on at Ford right now. We could say they're indirectly responsible because it's the heads of the company that are deciding to go along with the plan, but let's not fool ourselves too much. Ford's working steadily to go along with the administration's plan to replace, wait for it, internal combustion cars with electric vehicles post-haste. And in order to do that, they're going to have to let some people go. And this is probably just the beginning because, of course, doing a turnover like this isn't going to go exactly as planned. Now, of course, it's going to take longer and cost more than they think it will. And, of course, the collateral damage to their workforce it's just going to extend well beyond the narrow range of the economic and political blinders they're willingly wearing right now. So, folks, I've said it a million times, and I'm going to say it again. Progress is a natural thing best handled by a free market society. I'm going to say that again because I want you to hear me. Progress is a natural thing best handled by a free market society. That includes technological progress and a whole bunch of other types of progress as well. Human beings innovate. We've been doing it ever since the first caveman rubbed a couple of sticks together until he produced some smoke and fire. Living things grow, growing things change, changing things challenge us. That's what happens with innovation. I get it. No government had to come along and regulate the way the caveman invented fire or how quickly after inventing fire someone needed to create matches. If there was some magical utopian realm in which government actually could do something like that successfully long term, its proponents might, and I stress might, have an argument. But it doesn't happen that way. Inevitably, the corruption which riddles every government structure like a metastasizing cancer will win the day and screw everything up, usually quite royally. Electric cars may well be the future, or even just a stair step on the way to something even better. I don't know. I mean, I got George Jetson dreams. I've got nothing against them in theory, but the brass tacks to which we all eventually must get down, just lay down those brass tacks. They state that government overreach to try to make the mandatory change is going to cause more harm than it does good. 3,000 employees at Ford is just a scratching on the surface of the giant iceberg of death that this kind of thing pretends. Now, remember how everybody on the radical left has been calling people like me and the fascists for some time now? Remember how they've reinvented the notion of being anti-fascist and have run with that like a dumb kid with scissors? Well, let me tell you something that they don't know. What the word fascism means, they don't know what that means. When private industry owns the means of production but the government controls it, that's fascism. So, hey, Antifa, where's your protest for this shit? Where is it? Ford is making a decision that might very well lead to their downfall as a company and ours as a country. It's certainly causing some pain and misery for its workers, and that's bad enough. But hey, we'll save all the glaciers from melting or Taylor Swift's footprint will carbon whatever. I don't even know anymore. I commented on that thing. I've got a new theory on how to do Twitter.
Tell me.
I'm going to start tweeting something out. Like I said, 4,000 jobs. And I did. I said 4,000 because the first report said 4,000. Mm-hmm. Then everybody's like, a day later, people come in and say, it's not 4,000, it's 3,000. I'm 3,000.
Right.
Got it.
As if that changes the overall point.
Got it. They're white-collar workers, not blue-collar workers. Okay. Yeah, because white-collar workers don't eat. No. They don't have families to feed.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, the white-collar workers, those are the bastards that went to school and are now going to get their loans forgiven. Well, again, right? Oh, it's the white-collar workers. Yeah, the ones you're willing to pay off their student loans. Shit. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. But I was sitting there and I go, okay, 4,000 are going to get laid off because of the EV deal. And this is Biden's progress. Yeah. Build back better. You're idiots. And everybody wants to, and they want to push back. Here come the re-rees. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to start saying the flip side of what I said in the tweet, maybe like an hour later. I'm just going to say I'm going to make my point the other way. Like I could say, screw those Ford workers.
Yeah.
I'm glad those white-collar workers are getting fired.
And
like if I'd have tweeted that, you know what? Ford's got too many executives anyway. It's time to trim the fat, Ford. So why don't you get rid of those 3,000 and let's embrace electric vehicles? Because the same re-rees, they'd be bitching about that.
Yep. They sure
Because they're just going to bitch.
Yep.
They live to sneer.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm just going to start just putting opposing concepts right there together. Dual tweets, if you will. And just so the re-reads, the heads will explode because they're going to be like, hey, but I don't agree with that. Oh, shit, he said the opposite. I don't agree with that either. I'm just here to bitch and play with myself in between Chad's tweets while Mama makes me some meatloaf. I'm down here sitting naked. Hey, we pay the internet bill? I'm on the lawn chair whacking my meat. Oh, shit, Chad tweeted again. Oh, my God, he's got his cowboy hat on. Ruined orgasm. I mean, get a life. You know, you said it. You said, what was it you said on Twitter yesterday where you said, talking about you you mute them?
Yeah, I just mute them. And every time I do, I just imagine them just screaming into the void.
At the sky.
And it just makes me so happy.
I know.
It's better than blocking to me.
I know, man. They can't get an erection anymore because they don't have you to bitch at.
Well, I'm not concerned about them getting an erection. I don't want them to feel like they've won. They think they've won if you block them.
No, here's the deal. They think we care.
I know.
Right?
I know.
I mean, we go on, we put an opinion out. 90% of the time, it's humorous to me.
Right.
I'm like...
Well, they take the internet very seriously.
Oh, seriously?
Yes.
Oh, my God, he said 4,000. Oh, my God. This is what the Blaze is putting out. You know, this is what's, you can't say this on the news and why it matters. I can say this because according to our production people, I'm on brand. Look, it's good to be me. It's good to be me. It's his language again. I can't stand his language. Well, if I get to heaven and I'm standing there and the only thing between me and God is a couple words out there. Yeah, I've been doing all right. Yeah. Had somebody on the Watch Chad Prather Facebook page, which is where the Blaze articles and videos from this show get posted. I need him to admit that he's not the one who makes these posts. I need you to bury your head in the sand till you run out of oxygen. Because I don't give a shit what you think I owe you. Have you not seen the amount of money that's getting sent to my Venmo by my viewers? You think I need you, Riri Progressive? Good God. I need a white-collar job at Ford is what I need.
I'm trying to see if that's the one that I responded to the other day.
Do you know, if that EV battery runs out, if it dies on you, it's like a $30,000 battery. Anywhere from 12 to 30,000.
You don't have 30,000 just lying around to spend on an EV battery?
I don't.
Interesting.
So there you go, Ford, man. But again, embrace this idea. I want to think it out with you a little bit. Let's flesh out the whole dueling tweets. Because like this, and then one that kind of opposes it, still says the same thing. Because at the end of the day, you know, I'm not friends with a lot of white-collar workers at Ford. I appreciate Ford for not taking bailout money, you know. But big corporate America is also not
your thing.
Not really my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping on the bandwagon to just go out there and fight for the man.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll be right back. I went and got my cardiac scoring done the other day. People comment on this thing. They're like, Chad's gotten fat. Chad ain't never not been fat.
Shut up.
I weigh exactly what I weighed when I started at this network. Just it repositions itself here and there. Tell you why I ain't lost no weight though.
Oh my God. He meant his feet, obviously.
When got the cardiac scoring, that's like you don't have to do the stress test anymore. They just they put a thing on there in 5 minutes. They read your body and see if there's calcium in your.
And it's not invasive?
No, and it's like an EKG.
Really?
They read it and they see if there's calcium buildup in your arteries and around your heart and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately for you Riri's, I'm healthy as a horse. I'm sorry, that's a bulldog. It's football season.
I know. Roll Tide.
Go Dogs. But
I do love Ugga.
you may not. Let's go to the tailgating thing first. You may not be able to enjoy it because the prices have gone up. Inflation. Whew. Play that clip.
Are you ready for some football? Well, if you're planning to tailgate too, you better plan to pay up. It's going to cost you more this season for sure. According to a new report, the prices of a number of tailgating essentials have gone up because of inflation. Gas costs more, of course, and then flying into an alma mater will cost more too, with airfares up 28% since last year, beer up nearly 5% since last July, and groceries 13% higher. Now, if you're grilling, propane and firewood are also up about 22%. Just keep shelling out that.
What is going on?
Now, for the podcast audience, and those of you who couldn't see that clip, they were talking about the food's gone up 28%, beer's up 5%. This was a local NBC affiliate, and they kept showing the same 5-second clip over and over and over again for their B-roll of chicken wings on a grill. And they can't afford more B-roll. They can't afford no B-roll. Show them that beautiful baked bean footage.
That is so...
There it is. And those are some really good-looking wings, by the way.
I've never seen anything like this.
Me either. I mean, this is an NBC affiliate. I love,
gosh.
I don't know, do you watch local news ever?
Yeah.
So I don't watch TV.
I don't watch it regularly.
I just don't.
Every once in a while.
But Steve Helms, Texas legend Steve Helms, is addicted to television.
Oh.
Like, he's a musician, so he's got all day. And so he'll watch Price is Right and all that. He's, like every day. And he'll come down to my place when I'm home, which is only on usually Tuesdays. And he'll come to my place and he'll turn the TV on. And he was there Tuesday. He was there all day. All day. He sets the thermostat on 60. I'm shivering.
Oh, no.
We're working on content for your Shop Sarah G deal. And I'm like shivering. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Lose weight. Anything. Go get a cardiac scan. But we're watching local news. It's on, and I can hear these people, and they are just so over the top with everything. We're going to send it over to you in the weather, Kyle. And the whitest people in the world.
It's so bad.
It is.
So try watching it with my husband, too.
Yeah.
Who's a director
Who's
here.
the director here at
and
the Blaze.
it drives him nuts when he watches it.
Okay, Kyle, we're going to send it over to you. Caleb is out on the street. He's looking at the weather out in Dallas, and I'll tell you what, it is a flood zone. Anyway, that was a funny clip right there. But you can't tailgate because the point of what we were trying to show you before we got carried away, tickled at that thing, was the fact that you can't afford those damn chicken wings. All right? People will always find enough money to drink. Always.
It's true.
They will always find enough money to drink.
And there's not a virus in the world that can shut us down enough to close the liquor stores.
That's right. And you know what? Go out there and tailgate and celebrate your alma mater, and maybe you'll get your student loans forgiven.
I have a feeling that the Let's Go Brandon chants that happened last year at all of these
it's going to be stronger.
Stadiums are going to be even stronger when they're pissed that they can't get their chicken wings.
This is Let's Go Brandon season. That's what I'm calling it. All right, TikTok, let it rip.
So I'm going to say my pronouns real quick and why. So he spelled HY is because I'm agender and I just like the masculinity, but I don't want to be associated with men. That's why he HY, right? What? Then I have they, them, and that's just me being like, You can use that. I'm okay with that. Like, pop off. It's, like, not my favorite, but go for it. I don't care. Zer, I'm fine with. Like, it's okay. I think it's better than they, them, but it's kind of, like, the same thing. God is me validating my agenderness. Oh, fuck, I ruined this Q-tip. Me validating my agenderness because I don't view myself as a god. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in gods. But I just, like...
cold sore?
The... not feeling, but how
herpes medicine?
it's perceived with me. So God, the reason why I use it is because as an agender person, I don't have a gender. So it's like I'm existing and I'm not existing at the same time. Oh my God, right?
Wow. You know, for somebody with no gender, you got really big jugs.
Thank you.
I mean, did you see the chest on that gal?
How could you not?
That's a J cup. What was in that jug that she was rubbing on her lips? She getting some lighter fluid to put, like, did the piercings get infected? What the hell was I looking at right there? What is a high? What is a he? I really don't like men. No shit. I mean, you talk about things that can go unsaid, sister. You know what these kids are doing? It's almost like they're trying to pick out, like, music artists. You know, I'll listen to Jay-Z, but I don't really like him. Like, I don't really, like, go for, like, what he's all about, you know, and sometimes he's off. But a couple of his hits, you know, bam, I'm like that. And then Miley Cyrus, she's, like, cool. I don't know, like, I can listen to Miley Cyrus every day if I had to. Like, these kids, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's like somebody, I like the venti mocha, but sometimes I like a half calf, you know, with a double whip and the low-fat cream. I don't know. I just don't really know that latte is me today. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're dealing with.
It is.
But they're talking about their genders. That's how silly you sound.
Bring back insane asylums.
God, she had big boobs. All right, we'll be right back. I'm in love with a married woman. Sara Gonzales. Sara Gonzales. I love you. Thank you for being on the show. Always hang around for overtime. There's some things, there's a ton of things we didn't get into that I think are important.
We
we'll
had to
have
talk
fun
about
doing
jugs.
It. Thank you. Talk about jugs?
We had to talk about jugs. So
Jugs. Used to be a magazine called that. I think it's probably still there. Don't subscribe to that, though. Subscribe to BlazeTV.com. Use promo code, add Chad to the end of that. BlazeTV.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad to save. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Find me on the road. Going to be in Conroe next Saturday night, having a good time with the Ragamuffins. And, of course, ShopSarahG.com and Sara Gonzales Unfiltered on YouTube. Go subscribe.
Thank you.
You are lovely today.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk some more. We'll be back at overtime. See you later. Love you. Bye.